Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Monakas, and today we're going to dive into one Gardevoir tip versus every Pokemon. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and show you what held items I run on Gardevoir that I think makes her kit work the best. First, I run Wise Glasses because it gives me a 7% overall damage increase to my special attack damage. Ralts isn't a very good early game Pokemon, and neither is Kirlia until she gets both of her movesets, so this increase in damage is really useful against enemy players and NPC Pokemon. Second, I run Shell Bell. Now, Shell Bell also increases my special attack damage, but it also gives you a slight heal the more special attack you have. Pair this together with Wise Glasses and special attack specs, and you can have a lot more healing going on in the midst of battle. And third, I run special attack specs. Every goal you score increases your base special attack damage by 16. You can stack this up to 6 times in a single game regardless of the value of the points you're dunking. So you can score 6 1-point goals and still get the maximum benefit to increase your overall special attack damage. Now, let's talk about Gardevoir's attack kit. First of all, we have Moonblast. Moonblast is a stunning capability that hits in a cone shape and can affect many Pokemon in the area. Whoever is closest to the blast gets a stun effect, allowing you to follow up with something damaging like Future Sight or Sight Shock. Also, at Moonblast Plus, you get to get granted a little bit of extra shield to help you survive the fights. And second, and my personal favorite, is Future Sight. Future Sight creates an area of effect damage that has a delayed explosion timer. Anyone caught in the blast takes significant damage, especially squishy Pokemon. It's not as effective against tanks, but at Future Sight Plus, you do get the ability to have instant cooldown if it grants even a sliver of damage on anybody. This is very useful against certain Pokemon that we'll cover later in the video. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get started. First, we'll start with defenders. Against Snorlax, you need to be wary of his Heavy Slam and Yawn. Snorlax may look like a big old teddy bear, but his Heavy Slam hits like a truck. Avoid super close combat with him to avoid getting slapped and then RKO'd out of nowhere. Moonblast and Future Sight yourself away from him when available. Against Crustle, his damage may not be as quick as Snorlax, but don't let this rock crab thing fool you. His Shell Smash X Scissor combo can render moves like Moonblast ineffective, making your only means of escape in close combat useless. Time Moonblast after you notice Shell Smash has worn off to allow your team to help damage Mr. Krabs. Blastoise is a special kind of defender in that his moveset completely denies yours. Most of the meta for Blastoise right now includes Water Spout and Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin is the move that makes your entire kit almost useless here. He isn't able to be stunned with Moonblast, and Future Sight is very hard to hit with him Beyblading all over the place. Avoid this close quarters fight as much as possible, or work with your team to take him down. Against Slowbro, he's kind of a mix of a supporter and a defender. His Surf allows him a huge crowd control potential, but won't damage you immensely if it hits. Once he does get Surf Plus, however, you do need to be wary of the juggling and how long you get juggled and all the damage from other players you are prone to. Moonblast or eject your way out, and it'll serve as a great escape tool if you're caught in his Surf. Next, we'll move on to support. Against Mr. Mime, absolutely avoid all close combat against this man. His Guard Swap / Confusion combo can easily wipe the floor with you. As you can see here, I was 3 levels above Mr. Mime and he still took half my health. Stick to ranged attacks and safe zones if he advances. You can also use Moonblast and a Future Sight combo if he gets too aggressive. Eldegoss isn't too much of a threat against you, as her base attack and abilities don't do a lot of damage. Pollen Puff is insignificant to you, so don't worry if you're stuck with it. Your biggest issue with Eldegoss is Cotton Guard and how quickly she gets it back. If possible, solo the Eldegoss to deny the enemy team more healing. Future Sight does wonders in removing the extra health the enemy team has been provided from Eldegoss. Blissey is similar to Eldegoss in that alone she's not much of a threat, except early game. When paired with a teammate though, she can be deadly. Safeguard will allow her allied teammate to be immune to your Moonblast stun effect and grant them extra health in the form of a shield. Pair that with Helping Hand and the enemy duo can really put a damper on your day. Fight from a distance, look for an opening when you see the team has overextended or when you notice Safeguard is on cooldown to deal out some serious damage. Wigglytuff is your biggest enemy support player. Not only is she in the current support meta, she has a hard-hitting early game build. Ralt stands no chance against her, so stick to getting to level 6 as early as possible. Sing and Double Slap can shut down any form of escape you might have thought you had. Overextension when laning against a Wigglytuff is going to be your biggest downfall if she gets you in her sleep. Play it smart, play at a distance, eject out of her sleep if you need to, Moonblast, Future Sight, get her out of the game. Now we'll move on to attackers. Venusaur is a scary individual despite what the meta might suggest. His Solar Beam can easily melt away any form of defense you have, whether it be shield or in goal, even off screen. This attack is somewhat easy to dodge though, so do your best to get out of line of fire during charge up and future sight him while he's stuck in the Solar Beam animation. Ninetales has potential if the enemy knows how to properly freeze. If you're attempting to flee, Ninetales can easily stun lock you into being vulnerable to the other teammate's damage. Moonblast can serve as a deterrent to being frozen if you get caught in her dazzling gleam. Overall, Ninetales' base damage isn't too much of a threat unless she is caught in her Aurora Veil where all of her attacks are boosted, in which case you should avoid her range until the Veil has worn off. Cinderace's burn ability is what you should most be worried about when fighting in a 1v1. His increased attack speed compared to yours is what will usually cause your downfall, on top of increased burn damage over time. You usually won't win a 1v1, so keep your distance and use Moonblast Future Sight behind your teammates to be most effective. Be careful though, as if the enemy Cinderace runs faint, you will do no damage to them. Against Greninja, you need to make sure you stay as far away from him as possible in fights. Greninja is a hybrid attacker. He can attack you at range but also deal melee attacks if he's too close to you. Surf is his most dangerous move, as it allows him for quick movement and he can dodge Moonblast very easily. Try to either predict his movements or wait for them on cooldown in Moonblast followed up by Future Sight to try to deal as much damage as possible. Pikachu is also early scary game Pokemon to 1v1. His passive paralysis makes any form of escape nearly impossible, and at low levels you cannot outdamage him. His Electro Ball is especially devastating as it tracks you far and hits hard on top of the paralysis it provides you. Look here as I take half my health down even with eject button. Pikachu, like Guard, is sort of a glass cannon. Hit a successful Future Sight to nearly wipe this Pokemon from the face of the franchise. Cramorant's crowd control potential can be a huge headache. Moves like Hurricane and Surf juggle you quite a bit, leaving you vulnerable to the enemy team. In a 1v1 scenario, damage is quite close, but Future Sight takes the cake in the end. Moonblast / Future Sight frequently to force the Cram to flee and help your team deny the crowd control potential. Future Sight Plus is a good counter to Cram's and his surrounding teammates while he is ulting with the instant reset it provides. Spam Future Sight Plus on an ulting Cram to help deny and get him out of the game. Now we'll move on to Speedsters. Zeraora is hella dangerous as he jumps around quite often and does AoE damage against your entire team. Discharge Spark can easily melt your health and make it hard to predict your enemy movements. Try your best to hit Zeraora with a Moonblast as soon as you see him rushing you, or after Spark wears off and get out of the Discharge AoE. Be careful though, Spark does grant some invincibility frames against Moonblast, so you want to make sure you time it correctly. Follow up with Future Sight and it'll take at least half of his health. Gengar is dangerous with his Hex Sludge Bomb build, as he has invincibility frames upon each Hex teleportation. You need to react fast with either your eject button or Moonblast to get out of range of Hex, so he can't teleport to you and run you into the ground. Be wary that Moonblast doesn't 100% counter all of the time, as he still has Hex upon getting hit. Allow your team to help you fight, as he can only Hex one person at a time. If that unlucky soul is you, hope you can blast this guy to the moon. Talonflame might be one of the harder speedsters to counter. His fly ability allows the denial of any damage to him while he is in the air, but he does loads of damage to you no matter the level. Try to wait out fly and attack afterwards to ensure he doesn't have an escape route when going in for the kill. Absol is definitely something you want to say hell nah to when you see him. Treat this man like he's got the plague and avoid at all costs. Do not try to 1v1 him. Here you can see he outdamages you just in basic attacks due to his increased crit rate. Tack on any abilities they might push you with and you'll be sent back to spawn quite quickly. Try to keep your distance, use Moonblast, eject if possible, but be careful as Absol's base kit allows him to catch up to you quite quickly. Lucario is probably your most dangerous all-arounder. His early game build allows quick camp clears, yoinking any early levels you hope to gain in fighting. Try not to engage in a 1v1 with this Pokemon until you at least have Moonblast, as his kit has built-in abilities for him to catch up to you. Lucario's passive also grants him shield at low health, so these players are often very aggressive in their gameplay. Give them a reason not to be. Machamp is similar to you in that most of his kit is slated for late game. I say don't worry too much about Machamp until he evolves into Machoke when Submission is unlocked. Submission denies Moonblast's stun effect and can pull you out of a defensive stance you're holding. Wait out Submission or Moonblast him after he pile drives you and follow with Future Sight for maximum damage. Garchomp is just like Machamp. His kit isn't too much to worry about in early stages as both of you are relatively weak. Once he evolves, his leveling gets exponential however, so it is critical you outlevel against the Garchomp as his crit attacks are high damage. He needs a quick Moonblast and a Glass of Future Sight when he decides to use Dragon Rush or Dig. Be sure not to hit the Moonblast too early though, as the stun effect will get cancelled, and so will you. And finally, we have Charizard. Charizard is kind of a weird Pokemon to fight. His attacks and his rush isn't nearly as deadly to you as any of the other Pokemon on this list, but his ult charge is exponentially higher than anybody else's. A good Charizard could easily get his ult 5 to 6 times in a single game. These players are not afraid to pop their ults when at low health and drop you like an atom bomb with Seismic Toss. Abilities like Flare Blitz and Flamethrower, they hit, but they don't hit as hard as Cinderace due to the extra burn damage Cinderace gets. You can win the 1v1 so long as he doesn't ult on you and turn you into a well done piece of meat. And that concludes our one Gardevoir tip for every Pokemon in Pokemon Unite. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It is free and you can always change your mind if you don't like the content I produce. If you do, it does help support the channel a lot. Let me know in the comments if you want to see another Pokemon on the list. All of this was recorded live at twitch.tv/ManakasTV, so head on over to Twitch if you want to support me there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next video.